folks, you know, all hour we're going to be exploring a major issue in this country. It's one that's often as difficult to talk about as it is to overcome. Take a look. Race in America. It's a conversation that's not going away. In many ways, we've made great strides towards equality.
I have a dream.
But it seems no matter how far we've come,
congratulations, Mr. President,
we still have far to go.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Headlines, news reports, and internet feeds flood our lives with stories of hate-fueled incidents and tragedy.
The death of Trayvon Martin,
Eric Garner,
Michael Brown
has grabbed national attention.
But the topic of racism still makes many uncomfortable, especially when it comes to our own personal biases, stereotypes, and judgments. Whether we like it or not, this issue isn't a series of isolated events. Every individual plays a part. Every single one of us. Well, I think it's time that we have an honest conversation about racism. Now, many folks would like to believe that when it comes to race, that they have no prejudice at all. But there's a test that measures racial bias. The implicit association test, or IAT, is respected as much now as it was when it was created 20 years ago. Now, before the show, we asked everybody in the audience to take the test. Before we see the results, let's meet one of the creators of this test. Please welcome co-author of Blind Spot, Dr. Anthony Greenwald. Doc, welcome to the show. Tell everybody what this test is all about.
This test measures something that we call automatic race preference. A lot of people have an automatic preference for white because they've been brought up in a culture that is dominant white. It's a test that can sometimes be influenced by the experiences we've had. For example, if you have a pleasant conversation with a black person just before you're taking the test, that's likely to produce a shift in the results. So if you want to take this test and get a less strong white preference result, have a pleasant conversation with a black person. This is not a test of racism. It doesn't measure racism, but it measures an automatic racial preference, and it's something that can affect behavior, so it's of interest. And I hope we're going to be seeing more research on this.
Okay, let's check out how the audience fared in the test. 62% of the audience has a strong to moderate implicit reference for whites over blacks. But 0% of the audience has an implicit preference for blacks over whites. Are you surprised by the results? And what does it mean?
Yeah, I think this is a result that most are surprised by. If you are white and you showed a result that indicated white preference, it means you've picked up something that you're probably unaware that you've picked up, but it's from a bias that is pervasive in our society. Now, 1/3 of African Americans taking this test show a white preference. It means they, too, have been exposed to this dominant white bias that exists in our culture.
I believe that to be true because, you know, African Americans are a minority in this country, but television, movies, books, everything is predominantly white. We've grown accustomed to living in this world as a minority. So I can actually see that working out to be true. But there is a silver lining in all of this.
The silver lining is in what we are learning about how race problems operate in America today. In the past, racism was an active, open hostility against blacks, but now we know that there's this automatic preference that most people are not aware that they have, and we are gradually learning what we can do to control this in this country.
Now, I got some people in the audience who want to weigh in. Where's Cole?
Come on up, Steve.
Okay, go ahead. What would you like to say?
Well, honestly, Steve, I'm not surprised by the test and how it went. We hear this thing in the country about white privilege. I've witnessed it and seen it happen. I have been working at a restaurant, and I went up to a family of 4, grabbed their plates off the table when they were finished, and they were very respectful, very highly energized to talk to me and allowed me to take the plates off the table. And less than 5 minutes, One of my Hispanic coworkers went up to the table, grabbed the plates off the table, and I heard them shouting, I heard them screaming, and I heard them that they didn't want him to touch the plates off the table. And he comes up to me and goes, I couldn't take the rest of the plates off the table. I couldn't do my job. And I just had to stand there and I couldn't believe it. I was ashamed, and I think it's demeaning. And if someone's trying to do their job, then they should be able to.
Right. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Where's Jonathan? Okay. Let's go.
I am surprised by the results, okay? Now, I'm a white guy, very tan white guy, but a white guy, okay? And the issue of white privilege is something that I don't frankly agree with, okay? My great-grandparents came here with absolutely nothing, and when they got off the boat, no one was there saying, hey, look, more white people, oh, let's help them. No, they worked, and they worked, and they worked, and they built businesses, and they passed that on to their kids. And all the good things we've enjoyed in this country in our lives is a result of hard work and determination. That's what it's about.
I can understand where you're coming from. There is a misconception that because you're white, you're privileged. I agree that there are people who have come here who are non-African American, who have worked themselves and scrapped and lived in the ghettos in New York and fought their way and owned businesses. I applaud that. That's coming here and getting it done. That's a true statement. Here's what I think a lot of people miss. If I walk into a bank to get a loan versus you walking into the bank to get a loan, and the person across the table who's providing the loan is prejudice, well, he gets to show me that immediately because I have a skin tone that allows that to come out. You may not get that.
Oh, they won't even know what I am, so.
Yeah, really, because I didn't know either. I thought I was thinking this is great. I felt really wonderful about it. And after meeting you, I still feel wonderful about it. Because I can get past people's moments that they have. And I understand where you're coming from. See, I can get past that moment. A lot of people can't because they hear that and then they anger. I don't get angry about it anymore. I understand where it's coming from. So I appreciate what you're saying. Thank you.